Hello and welcome to a special Gooners versus Cancer / the Gooners podcast. Mike, our special guest today is Thierry Henry. That's what you told me coming into this.
I may or may not have lied about that. Thierry Henry just called me and said that he's going to be late, and I said, then just don't bother, please.
Then don't bother.
Don't bother.
We joke and we laugh because we have some stuff to celebrate.
Yes, we do. It is now 40 minutes past 7 p.m. Eastern time on the 15th. Gooners versus Cancer for 2020 has completed, and I am thrilled beyond belief to share that we have reached our goal. Our original goal was to exceed last year at 16,000. When I saw that was looking really, really good, I decided to kind of go for a little extra. And because it's 2020 and everything going on in 2020, I decided a good goal would be 20,200. And not only did we hit 200, but with about a few minutes to spare, we nearly nipped 21,000. So I've got a lot of people to thank, and I'm going to do it right now. But 20,935 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, just an amazing showing. And to say that I am really kind of feeling grateful and feeling good about the world and about the Gooner family right now would be an understatement. Andy knows when I get on a roll about something, I tend to get on a roll. So you may not be hearing from him for about 10 more minutes. But
he told me before this, he said, you can come on, but don't expect to talk. And I said, well, that's just a regular podcast then.
So should we do this then? Should we put me on like in the large screen and you in the small screen, just to kind of, let it ride? Now, honestly, I just want to thank a bunch of people, and it's necessary to do this because this is not a one or even two person job. First, I want to thank Natalie Biro at the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society here in Washington, D.C. She has helped me with the back end of the website, with encouraging words, with enthusiasm. She's been a great partner, and she's as thrilled as I am that we were able to hit this mark. I want to thank Doug McGill, who is a friend of mine, who is a business associate, you could say, whose creation of a charity car show event for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society about 10 years ago, and all the energy that he put into building that up and making it into a great fundraiser has really kind of showed me that I could start something like Gooners versus Cancer. I want to thank people who donated some amazing prizes to the raffle. I mean, every year it's grown. 2 years ago, we had some books from Alan Smith and a couple of other items to bid on, and otherwise we're just asking for money. Last year we had some really, really good prizes, a small handful of them from a small handful of donors. This time, 11 prizes from about 8 different donors, amazing things to bid on, and we're going to be picking those winners on Monday. But I just want to single out the people who donated. Arsenal Football Club, specifically Mark Brindle, who's the supporters club liaison, Lynn Cheney from the charitable department, and Stuart McFarlane, team photographer extraordinaire, overall great guy, former guest on the podcast, future guest on the podcast, who donated, between the three of them, donated Emirates tour passes, signed men's and women's first team kits, some of the items that got the most interest in the raffle. I want to thank some ex-Arsenal players. Perry Groves, who donated a Legends tour that he will be leading, a signed retro kit and beers with him at a pub after the tour. I'm jealous of whoever wins that because I think other than maybe Ray Parler, he's probably the person I would want to hang out at a pub most and hear some old stories of from his day.
We did hang out with Ray Parler at a pub, though.
We did. Not exclusively, though. It wasn't like
no,
one-on-one.
That's very true. That's very true.
It was one-on-one. It was one-on-one for like 45 seconds. And then he said, please let me go.
Yeah. That's where he ushered his security guards into.
Yeah.
God damn it, Mike. First Jaka, now me?
Yeah, I'm doing it to you.
Have you not learned?
Sorry about that. So yes, he looked to get away from us as quickly as possible, but Perry will not look to get away from the winner as quickly as possible. Alan Smith, who is just, I mean, he's my hero. He's my favorite player, along with David Rocastle when I lived over there in the 80s. I don't know if you knew that, Andy, and he's been just an amazing part of this raffle for the last 3 years, donating jerseys, books, this year a signed kit. which a lucky winner will get. And Lee Dixon, new to the charity this year, will be providing us with the same. Also want to thank Stephen Feely, who is a friend of mine from New Orleans, who has a great website, afc.feestees.me, feestees.me. You can get a full collection of Arsenal gear there, including the 89 t-shirt that I've worn on the podcast a few times. I haven't really worn it too much outside the house because my belly shows, because they don't make sizes for guys like me, but that's not his fault. That's mine. But this amazing t-shirt that people are going to win. Jack Stevenson. You got to meet Jack, Andy, when you come over sometime. Jack is absolute class. He's a great guy, generous guy. He's got 2 of the best tickets in the entire Emirates. I've been lucky enough to sit in them twice, but someone will win those tickets in Block 32, right next to the Players Tunnel. And for the second straight year, he's donated a pair of tickets to the game of your choice. At some point, fans will be allowed back in the Emirates, and you will be one of those fans if you win that prize. And you get to choose whatever game, whatever Premier League game you want. So, Mike Hernandez, one of our first listeners, one of our best listeners. If we had to rank listeners, we would figure out a criteria, and I'm sure he'd be up there. But not only has he donated very generously as a donor, but he also, rushed to me when I was setting this up and said, "I want to donate a new kit for the 2021 season, home, away, third kit, doesn't matter, personalized. Whoever wins the kit will be able to choose what they want and have it shipped directly to them." Obviously, they're going to choose Thomas Partey, I would assume. Even though I wish Partey was on the back instead of Thomas. That's the only thing for me.
I suppose you could do that if you wanted.
You could, but then everyone would be like, no. But look, it's all for charity, so I don't care if people do whatever that voice was that I just did. But thank you, Mike, for that. Amy Lawrence, again, coming through for the second year in a row in our raffle. She was able to secure for us a signed copy of a book that is, like, I'm hearing things about it. It's from Arsene. What's his name?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Arsene Goldstein, I think is his. No, it's Arsene Wenger.
I think his name is Arsene
Wenger. Who apparently had something to do with Arsenal in the past, and he's written an autobiography that is raising some interest amongst people, and this will be a signed version of his new book. And then the Los Angeles Gooners, who donated a 2018-19 home signed number 10 Mesut Ozil jersey. So that did get a good bit of interest from some people, and there will be a lucky winner for that on Monday as well. So thank you for the donors. I also just want to thank some people who kind of went out of their way without me asking, or even in some cases with me asking, but went out of their way to really put a lot of effort and time into helping us raise more funds. 2 specifically, Owen Young, a new friend, but a great friend, a little bit of a bromance brewing between us, I think you could say that, when I understand what he's saying through his Northern Irish accent. But he took it upon himself to set up a charity football match in Northern Ireland without even telling me until he was already setting it up. And in that charity football match, he raised over $1,200 in one shot, which all went to the charity. And Arsenal America, couldn't ask for a better partner from a supporters club. Mm-hmm. Just a great group. And I want to really just call out Fredo Narvaez, David Ziegler, who was David yesterday because of some
David yesterday, David today.
David today, absolutely David today, and Tiffany Campo. Just those 3 and the rest of the board in Arsenal America really did us a favor by embracing and helping us publicize through Arsenal America's channel. They're good friends personally. They're amazing Arsenal people, ambassadors of goodwill and the Arsenal way here in the U.S. So thank you for your support. Just a couple more people to thank. I'm glad they're not playing me off. Did you program music into the video to start playing me off halfway through?
It wouldn't matter. You would I would just talk over. You would Donald Trump us, and you just keep talking.
I would just keep talking. From the Arsenal podcast world, which shockingly is not yet saturated. There's room for 500,000 more Arsenal podcasts, but the ones that have really come through for us, just having me on to talk about it, retweeting, helping us kind of raise awareness. Elliot Smith from the Arsenal Vision Pod, great supporter of the charity. He's invited me on a couple times to talk, and it's just amazing the reach of his podcast. It must be good or something. But the reach of his podcast, I had tremendous numbers of people telling me they heard about our charity from his podcast. So thank you to Elliot and Clive and Tim and everyone that does Arsenal Vision. Same old Arsenal, both the US and the UK versions. Craig Scott, Lee Judges, Dan Potts, Graham, Tanner, Ryan, Stan, Rohan, all of you guys, just wonderful friends, really supportive.
Sounds like a bad boy band.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, Ronnie, Mickey, Ricky, and Mike. What was Bell Biv? The same old Arsenal.
Yeah.
Tom Canton, aka Thomas Danton, and the Gooner Talk TV, as recently as last night, letting me preach about Gooners versus Cancer. Always been a very good friend, and thank you for the help there. Danny, our boy Danny, and the rest of the boys at a Burke Camp Wonderland, always supportive to both our podcast and our charity. Ryan Fletcher of the Mr. Arsenal podcast had us on a few times, so just thank you to you guys for that. I think we're on the way down. I've got a few more things to go, but we're more than
Jesus
halfway
Christ,
done.
did we just peak?
I think we peaked, and now we're on the downside of the mountain. But that doesn't mean that these people aren't important. Podcast guests from this season from the journalism world. We've been dabbling in journalism this year. Charles Watts, Gab Marcotti, Simon Collings, Laith Youssef, Adrian Clark, just yesterday, for helping us publicize and embracing Gooners versus Cancer, and in many cases, actually donating personally to it means a lot to us. I'm going to thank the Arsenal Gerbil, Andy, and you're tied into that a little bit because the Arsenal Gerbil, the phenomenon of the Arsenal Gerbil, because believe it or not, the quick rise and sudden fall from grace of the Arsenal Gerbil, aka Jerby, actually ended up putting about 8,000 to 9,000 eyes on Gooners versus Cancer that might not have otherwise seen it. And for that, I have to thank you, Andy, because while you weren't Jerby, you did come up with the idea to convert the Gerbil account into Gooners versus Cancer. And while that caused some initial confusion, it was a pretty good move, because I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that a considerable portion of the donations that came from messaging through that account and people saying that they were there. So I all jokes aside, I'm sorry if I pissed anybody off with the whole gerbil stunt, but it wasn't planned to be this way, but it ended up being one of those fortunate things. So,
and for the 11 people who thought this was a scam, do one.
Yeah. You can do one, because this is the furthest thing from a scam. The gerbil was the closest thing to a scam. Mm-hmm. But the gerbil didn't ask for money. Anyway, Andy, you, my podcast husband, my Arsenal better half, the more attractive version of the Gooners podcast.
Finally, you admit it.
It took a while, but I've been going this way and you've been going that way. So we finally. Wow. I handed off the mantle to you, but I'm not. I'm coming for you, but for now, I think you hold the title. What the hell is going on?
Well, we owe a big thank you to you, because without you, this isn't born, and you do all the hard work and the heavy lifting, and I just show up and kiss babies.
Kiss babies. You help me with my stupid jokes and make them look a little bit less stupid. But at
the end of the day, though, you work a full-time job. You have a house that's falling apart, and you're still grinding.
House, not family. Like people can think that means the family's falling apart. No, we're pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I know that you pay Steph enough that she's not going to leave you.
She's on retainer. You have to at this point.
But no, I mean, dude, when we talked about this to get it started, you ran the whole damn thing, and then this year we literally were on a fence. We didn't know what we were going to do. We just said, let's see what we can raise. And the fact that we've raised over 20 grand is because you pushed it. I mean, all the appearances you made, like everything. I mean, it's awesome, dude. Congratulations to you the most, because you're the one that drives this for good reason. But
thank you. And I'm going to talk about the reason in just a second. But, speaking of my family, I'm
complimenting you and making fun of you at the same time, because I'm texting the group. Did you guys know Mike lived in England in the 80s? He just told me.
You can never just get a flat compliment or praise from Andy. It has to be couched in negativity, and that's what I love about the guy. I mean, we're good that way.
But I texted that about 10 minutes ago, so but it's all in the same realm.
It wore off. Speaking of my family, who haven't seen me in a couple months because of all the time I've been spending on this, Jake, Steph, Daddy's coming home, and I'll see you. I'm literally
okay, Levinson. Were you at war? Relax.
No. Oh, Jesus. I just listened back to what you just said. But look, our incredible donors. Last year we raised $16,000, mostly in person, due to the Arsenal summer tour in the U.S. There were about 160 people who we know donated by credit card. Dozens, if not hundreds of more, just walking by and throwing cash into the pot, which is easier to do in person, from 5 different countries. This year, 0 in-person fundraising because of COVID, and knowing that people's financial lives, their personal lives have been thrown into disarray. The fact that we've raised just under $21,000 from 460 people in 23 countries from 5 continents is just amazing. I mean, the reach of this endeavor this year, just to quickly go through the list of countries: Australia, Canada, Croatia, Cyprus, Denmark, England, Finland, France, Germany, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Netherlands, Norway, Philippines, Portugal, Qatar, Scotland, Singapore, South Africa, Spain, Sweden, the United Arab Emirates, which is pretty suitable, and of course the United States of America, all with donors to this year's pot, and it's absolutely amazing. And on a somewhat emotional note, I should say a very emotional note, the last person I want to thank is my father. And my father, Gene Feinberg, who we didn't always have the closest, most touchy-feely relationship, but a lot of the person I am today, the good parts of it anyway, come from things I learned from him and got from him. Treating all people with respect is just the right thing to do. He taught me how to give of himself without expecting anything back, to fight for his family, even if you're fighting a horrible disease like leukemia, as he did for 3 years, and that it's worth every physical and emotional piece of energy that you have. So, I'm praying that I never face the kind of illness that he fought through for 3 years. And that's what this whole thing is about. We need to find a cure. The Leukemia Lymphoma Society is dedicated to finding that and to supporting families who are suffering from that. And, I just want to thank all of the people I've mentioned tonight, because we're that much closer to making it a reality. So thank you. And the fun part of this is coming on Monday night, because on Monday night at 10 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. Eastern, here in the US, we're going to be doing a live drawing of all 11 prizes. We're going to see who wins. We're going to let them know by email, but we hope that you'll tune in. You'll be able to go to goonersvcancer.com, and instead of taking you to the fundraising website, it will take you to our YouTube stream at that time. And we're looking forward to getting some happy winners. So that's it for me. Andy, thanks again. And
thank you.
And man, this has been an educational couple of months, and the education is how amazing Gooners can be. So
absolutely.
Thanks again. We'll be back Monday night, talk about Man City. Hopefully we'll be happy, but if not, we'll have happy stuff to talk about anyway. So come on, you Gooners.